Ambassador Threx of the Saurian Concord stepped off the shuttle onto Earth's soil with a deep sense of unease. The human world stretched before him, towering cities of steel and glass, skies laced with defense satellites, and oceans that shimmered with the silhouettes of warships beneath their waves. He had been to countless worlds in his service as a diplomat, but never had he felt so watched. The Galactic Council had sent him here with one question, a question whispered in every chamber of power across the stars. Why are the humans so heavily armed? For centuries the Council had enjoyed peace. Civilizations had put down their weapons, building fleets only for trade, research, and exploration. Yet humanity stood apart, bristling with armaments. Their fleets were vast enough to rival entire coalitions, their soldiers trained constantly, and their defenses thicker than any fortress world. To the Council it was a puzzle. To Threx it was a danger. And it was his task to uncover the truth. His first tour began at Earth's military academies. Young humans marched in precise formations, their boots striking the ground with such force it seemed the Earth itself trembled. In simulation halls, he watched cadets reenact orbital assaults with breathtaking speed and ruthless efficiency. What drives you to such extremes? Threx asked one of the instructors, a graying woman named General Adebayo. She smiled politely, though her eyes carried a heaviness he did not expect. Because history demands it, Ambassador. Humanity has learned the cost of being unprepared. The words struck him, but she explained no further. Next he toured their shipyards. Gargantuan drydocks orbited the planet, cradling warships the size of small cities. Battleships bristling with plasma cannons, carriers capable of unleashing swarms of fighters, and stealth cruisers with hulls that bent light itself, all constructed not for exploration but for war. Threx's tail twitched with unease as a human engineer guided him past the hull of a vessel named Endurance. Your fleets outnumber the combined patrols of 10 Council worlds, Threx remarked. Surely this is excessive? The engineer only shrugged. Not if you've lived through what we have. Again a vague answer. Again that weight in their tone. Days passed and Threx grew no closer to clarity. The humans were courteous, even welcoming, but always evasive. They showed him power but cloaked the reasons behind it. Frustrated, he pressed harder. It was in Geneva, at Earth's United Diplomatic Complex, where the breakthrough came. He had grown bold during a reception and confronted one of Earth's senior leaders, Chancellor Elena Ramirez. Chancellor, Threx demanded, your people live in peace, yet you surround yourselves with weapons greater than any empires. The Council wishes to understand. Why? The room fell silent. For a long moment Ramirez studied him, her expression unreadable. Finally she sighed. Very well, Ambassador. You have been patient. Come with me. But what you will see will change how you view us. She led him deep below the city, into a chamber sealed with layers of security. Guards stood at attention, their eyes sharp, their weapons close at hand. Within, the walls glowed with the flicker of holograms, ancient battles, flames consuming continents, alien fleets descending on Earth. Threx froze. The footage was not simulations. It was history. This, Ramirez said, gesturing to the first projection, was the first cataclysm. Long before we reached the stars, our species nearly destroyed itself in endless wars. Nations consumed each other with fire and steel. We learned then that peace, though precious, can vanish in an instant. The next image displayed alien ships blotting out the sky, unleashing bombardments upon cities. This was the second trial, she continued, her voice steady but laced with sorrow. When we first met outsiders, they came not with greetings but chains. They sought to enslave us. Their fleets dwarfed ours. We had nothing but resolve, desperation, and the will to fight. And we did. We fought them tooth and claw, until they fled, our system broken. Threx's scales prickled. He had never heard of such a war. No records of it existed in Council archives. Ramirez's eyes darkened. Because the Council erased it. They believed shielding younger races from fear would preserve peace. But we humans, we remember. We do not forget what hunted us. She gestured to the final recording. A massive battle in orbit, humans piloting outdated ships against superior alien craft, winning through sheer ingenuity and sacrifice. Thousands of years ago we were nearly erased. We swore then never again. Never again would humanity stand defenseless. Our weapons are not built for conquest, Ambassador. They are built for survival. Threx stood in silence. For the first time in his long career, he felt the weight of another species' pain. The humans did not carry weapons because they thirsted for blood, but because they feared extinction. Ramirez turned to him, her expression grave. We do not seek war. But if war comes, we will not be the victims. Tell your council this: humanity has scars older than most civilizations. Our arsenals are not threats. They are promises. When Threx returned to the council, he carried more than a report. He carried a warning. Before the assembled delegates he spoke. You ask why the humans are so heavily armed. You believe them reckless, dangerous, perhaps even unstable. But you are wrong. They are survivors. Their weapons are not signs of aggression, but monuments to history. They have endured what we have forgotten, and they will endure still. If the darkness they once fought should rise again, it will be humanity, armed and unyielding, that stands first in its path. And perhaps, they will be the last hope for us all. The chamber fell silent. For once no one argued. And in the quiet, Threx realized the truth. The galaxy feared humanity's strength, yet perhaps it should instead fear what might come that makes such strength necessary. Ambassador Elora adjusted her ceremonial robes as the transport descended into Earth's atmosphere. She had argued cases before the Galactic Council, debated with generals, and soothed quarrels between rival empires, but never had she been sent on a mission like this. Her orders were clear: uncover the truth behind humanity's frightening militarization, and if possible, prepare charges against them for destabilizing the fragile galactic peace. The Veari Dominion saw humans as a danger. Other civilizations whispered the same. Humanity had fleets larger than any logical defense required, orbital cannons surrounding their homeworld, and a military budget greater than most planets' entire economies. Why are they so heavily armed? Elora muttered to herself as she gazed out the shuttle window. Earth glittered below, a beautiful blue world bristling with orbital defenses. What are they preparing for? From the moment she arrived, her questions only grew. The humans welcomed her warmly, guiding her to ceremonies, training grounds, and research facilities. At first, she thought it would be a simple case of paranoia and over-preparation. Yet the deeper she looked, the more uneasy she became. She witnessed military exercises so realistic they bordered on war. Soldiers trained endlessly in orbital drops, city sieges, and fleet maneuvers. Even civilian children played in simulators that taught them strategy and survival. You prepare as though war is inevitable, Elora remarked during one visit to a naval academy. The admiral guiding her only gave a sad smile. Because, Ambassador, it always has been. The response unsettled her. During her weeks on Earth, Elora interviewed soldiers, engineers, and leaders. Their answers all shared the same tone: not arrogance, not hunger for conquest, but something stranger: grief, caution, even fear. She had expected pride from a people so strong. Instead, she saw watchfulness in their eyes, as if they were listening for a sound only they could hear. Surely you do not fear the council, Elora pressed during a private dinner with a general. The human sipped his drink before replying. The council is not what keeps us awake at night. That night, Elora lay awake in her quarters. Her mission was becoming less about condemnation and more about comprehension. The humans were hiding something. It was Chancellor Ramirez, the same woman whose words had once silenced the council chambers, who finally revealed it. You've asked enough questions, Ambassador, Ramirez said, her voice carrying the weight of decision. It's time you understood why we prepare as we do. Elora followed her into a secured facility beneath the United Diplomatic Complex. Doors opened to chambers lit with holograms, scenes of war, devastation, and alien horrors. The first image was of Earth itself, centuries past, its skies burning with nuclear fire. Your species nearly destroyed itself, Elora whispered, horrified. Ramirez nodded grimly. The first lesson: never underestimate what your own kind is capable of. The second projection showed something worse: fleets of alien warships descending on Earth, their banners unknown to Elora. Cities fell, oceans boiled, millions died. Yet somehow humanity endured. These invaders sought to break us, Ramirez explained. We were primitive by galactic standards, yet we fought them with every weapon, every trick, every ounce of will. And we survived. Elora felt her throat tighten. But, why is there no record in the Council archives? Because they erased it, Ramirez said, her eyes cold. The Council decided fear of predators would destabilize younger races. They told the galaxy it was a myth. But we humans, we remember. The final hologram flickered into life. A monstrous silhouette of something Elora had never seen, lurking beyond the stars. Vast, consuming, alien in every sense. This is what we prepare for, Ramirez said softly. A predator that hunts civilizations once they grow complacent. It struck us before. It will strike again. Elora staggered back, heart racing. All her life, she had believed in the Council's promise of eternal peace. But here was evidence of something older, darker, a truth buried in secrecy. "You mean to say," Elora whispered, "that your weapons, your armies, are not for conquest but for defense against this?" Ramirez met her gaze. "We cannot afford to forget, Ambassador. You can call us paranoid, dangerous, unstable. But when the Predator returns we will be ready. Will you?" When Elora returned to the Council, she was expected to accuse humanity. Her Dominion masters anticipated a scathing report that would justify sanctions, perhaps even forced disarmament. Instead, she stood before the chamber and spoke words that froze every delegate. "You ask why the humans are so heavily armed," she began, her voice steady. "You see their fleets and fear conquest. You see their soldiers and fear rebellion. But you are blind. The humans prepare not for war against us, but against something far worse." Murmurs swept through the chamber. Some shouted in outrage. Others demanded evidence. Elora lifted her chin. "They showed me the truth. A predator that stalks civilizations once they grow soft. One that attacked humanity long ago. One we, chose to erase from history. They remember and they prepare. That is why they are armed." The uproar was immediate. Delegates accused her of lies, of manipulation, of falling victim to human propaganda. Yet others sat pale and silent, fear dawning in their eyes. Finally, Elora ended with words that shook the hall to its foundations. "Condemn the humans if you wish. Demand their disarmament, punish them for their vigilance. But when the Predator comes again, ask yourselves, who among us will stand? For I tell you now, the humans will. And if we are wise, we will stand with them." Her words echoed long after the session ended. Some called her a traitor. Others hailed her as a truth speaker. But none could shake the image she had painted. Back on her ship, Elora looked once more at Earth through her viewport. Its cities gleamed with light, its fleets patrolled silently above, its people carried themselves with a weight that now made sense. She whispered softly, almost to herself, "Perhaps you are not preparing for war. Perhaps you are preparing to save us all." Ambassador Charon of the Quoll had visited 100 worlds, but none unsettled him quite like Earth. From orbit, it appeared a jewel, green continents, blue seas, silver cities gleaming beneath the sunlight. But around it spun something more ominous, rings of warships, satellite arrays and orbital cannons. The humans had encircled their home with enough firepower to make even the oldest council empires wary. The Galactic Council wanted answers, and it was Charon's job to obtain them. Why were humans, newcomers to the stars, so heavily armed? What did they fear, or worse, what did they plan? He had expected arrogance, perhaps even threats. Instead, what he encountered unsettled him far more. At the first reception, human generals and diplomats welcomed him with smiles, offering food, music, and open discussion. Yet beneath their warmth lay something strange. Every conversation circled carefully, never touching the heart of the question. When Charon asked why they maintained such massive arsenals, one admiral merely said, "Because we remember." When he pressed a senior diplomat, she answered, "Because the galaxy has forgotten." Cryptic words, always spoken with a softness that made his spine shiver. Determined, Charon began investigating. He visited their academies, where cadets trained endlessly in battle simulations. He walked through shipyards where carriers and battleships were built in endless rows. He questioned citizens, only to find even ordinary humans spoke casually about defense drills and survival plans. No one admitted hostility. No one hinted at conquest. Yet all shared the same watchful eyes, as if awaiting something unseen. "They live as though war will come tomorrow," Charon wrote in his notes. But against whom? His search led him beyond official tours. On Mars, while reviewing the sprawling colonies, he noticed something odd: a restricted zone cordoned off with human military insignia. His escorts tried to rush him past it, but Charon's instincts sharpened. He was a diplomat, yes, but also a seeker of truths. That night, with discreet help from his aide, he accessed human records linked to the Martian ruins. To his shock, they weren't ruins at all, not of human origin. They were alien. Carvings and half-buried machines told of a war fought long before humanity had built its first rocket. The dates were impossible, stretching back thousands of years. Yet the reports described battles fought here, on Mars itself, between humanity and an invading force. Charon's heart raced. Why was none of this in the Council archives? The answer came in whispers from encrypted human files, ones he should not have accessed. They told of a species not native to the galaxy, a predator that traveled between stars, seeking young civilizations and culling them before they grew strong. It had struck Earth in humanity's earliest spacefaring days. The Council, fearing panic, had buried all records. But humanity had not forgotten. Humanity had fought. And though they barely survived, they swore an oath. Never again would they face extinction unprepared. Charon confronted them at last. In a private chamber, he stood before Chancellor Ramirez, his hands trembling with anger and fear. "You deceived us," he hissed. "The Council knows nothing of this predator, yet your people arm yourselves beyond reason. Why keep this secret? Why carry such weapons if you do not plan to wield them?" Ramirez regarded him quietly, then gestured for him to follow. They descended into a vault beneath the Capitol, where records stretched across walls of light. Holograms flickered to life, massive alien warships blotting out the skies of Earth, humans fighting with outdated vessels and guerrilla tactics, sacrifices that turned oceans red and cities to ash. "We did not deceive you, Ambassador," Ramirez said softly. "We survived. And survival demanded remembrance." Charon's spines lowered in shock. "The Council erased this history." "Yes," she replied bitterly. "They thought ignorance was safer. But ignorance kills. We remember. That is why we build, why we train, why we arm ourselves so heavily. Not for conquest. For defense. For the day they return." Charon swallowed hard. "And you truly believe they will?" Her eyes, dark and unwavering, met his. "We don't believe. We know." When Charon returned to the Council, he carried evidence in his trembling claws, images, reports, undeniable proof. The chamber erupted with disbelief and fear. Some called him a fool for trusting human lies. Others demanded the truth of Ramirez's words. Charon silenced them all with one statement. "If what I have seen is true, then the humans are not dangerous because they are armed. They are dangerous because they are prepared for what we have chosen to forget." In his final report, Charon wrote, "The galaxy sees humanity's fleets and trembles, believing them a threat. But the truth is far more unsettling. They are not preparing to conquer us. They are preparing to save us. Should the forgotten enemy rise again, humanity will be the first line of defense. And if they fall, the rest of us will follow. Perhaps we should not fear their weapons. Perhaps we should fear what will come that makes such weapons necessary." Back aboard his vessel, gazing at Earth one last time, Charon felt a rare sensation stir within him. Not fear. Not suspicion. Hope. Because for all their scars, all their weapons, all their readiness for war, the humans had endured something the galaxy had hidden from itself. And in enduring, they had become something else entirely. The galaxy did not yet understand them. But Charon did. And he whispered a quiet prayer that when the predator returned, humanity's strength would be enough to shield them all.